the knight. The knight has a rather unique way of moving, but I'm going to explain the logic behind it. So here you'll see the setup with the queen on the center square, and we can examine all the possible moves from the distance of 2 squares, and you'll note that there are certain squares indicated by the dots which the queen cannot reach. And note that these squares are inaccessible to the queen. Suppose we were to create a piece that had the power of moving to these dotted squares. How would the hypothetical piece move? It would go 2 squares horizontally and 1 vertically, or 2 squares vertically and 1 horizontally. And the hypothetical piece is the knight. In this diagram, it can move to any of the blue squares. It can leap over friendly forces as well as enemy forces, but it cannot capture unless it's the terminal square. The knight is most advantageously placed in the center, where it has the choice of 8 possible moves. When the knight is near the edge of the board, his range is cut down to 6 moves. Place the knight at the edge of the board precisely, and his range is cut down even further to only 4 squares. But the worst is yet to come. Corner squares are the most disadvantageous. Here, his range is limited to only 2 squares. The important thing to remember about the knight is that it can jump over intervening squares, but it cannot capture hostile pieces located on those intervening squares, only the terminal square. Now let's watch our trusty steed in action. The knight cannot move to the squares occupied by the white pawns. It can leap over the black pawns to capture either rook, however. Here the knight can jump over the white and black pawns. It can capture either rook. It cannot move to the square occupied by the white queen because they're on the same side. The knight can capture any of the black forces here. And here the knight can capture only the rooks. In this case, either knight can capture the other, depending on whose turn it is to move. And now we'll move on to the pawn, a rather paradoxical piece.